So we know how to set up and create scenarios and how to change our sheet from one set of scenario values to another so that we can compare our mathematical totals. But what we now need is the ability to compare scenarios against each other in one place. Instead of changing them through and seeing what effect that has on the grand total, for example, we then have to go back, change them through again and see what effect that has on the grand total again. Instead of that, we can actually use the summary scenario to create a summary of our scenarios. So taking the sales scenario summary sheet, we go back to data, what if analysis, and the scenario manager. And just to the bottom right is this option here, the summary. And what that will do when we click it is firstly ask us if we would like a scenario summary or a scenario summary pivot table report. Well, we'll stay with the scenario summary. It then asks us to tell it which cells we're effectively interested in seeing what happens to them. Well, that for me is not M2. That just happened to be the cell we were selected on. It's actually this cell here, the grand total of our fruit sales. So we go back. So I'm going to create a scenario summary with a pointer and interest in cell G14. Now this can be multiple cells. I could have gone for all of these here, but we're staying with a single cell just so we can see what the result is. So that's OK. And we get a new sheet called the scenario summary. And you can see it lists the changing cells. So those are all our changing cells. The current values, so what's sat in there at the moment. The normal banana scenario that shows you all those values. The apple normal, which is these ones here. So you can see there's some grey and some white. So even though the normal bananas changes these grey ones, these ones don't get changed by that particular scenario. Pear normal as well doesn't change the white cells, but it does change these values here. So you can see what effect that's going to have on the resulting cell, which is our grand total sales. Now you'll also notice that it puts in some outlining, so we can go 1 and squish up all those columns, or we can go 1 here and squish up all those columns, and then expand out, for example, the result cells. That way we don't see the changing cells. So if we have normal bananas, this will be the total. Apple normal, this would. Pear normal, this would. Awful apples, good bananas, good apples, good pear, super wet banana, super wet pear. So the result of placing in each of those sets of scenario values. So it is quite a clever little tool to have a scenario summary with outlining, so you can then expand out and see where the effects are taking place. So this is your description or comment, which we can then hide using the outlining, which we've seen previously, which has been placed in here automatically. So that's into your data, what if analysis, scenario manager, summary. It will give you a scenario summary, but you can ask to see the effect on any set of other cells in your sheet. So it may be all these totals here for each month that I'm interested in. Okay, we then get another scenario summary with a little 2, so it's the second one. And the changing cells in this place, here are the result cells, so the difference it will make to each of these cells, which effectively is January to December, so that you can compare those without having to go through and go, show this set of values, show that set of values, show this set of values. So that's the scenario summary. And as you can see, we can have as many different summaries as we like, looking at the effect on different resulting cells.